Right, okay, let's bring in our London guest into the discussion at this point. Do you think this attack will underscore the message of the far right in Europe, at least, of the incompatibility of Islam and the West, or Western values?
That's a pretty atrocious question, if I may say so. We're about 24 hours away from 12 people being gunned down in a newspaper office in the centre of Paris, in a European city, because they offended, allegedly, Islamic blasphemy laws which France, Britain and other European countries do not have and do not believe in and do not follow. And for you to turn the question immediately, not on the people who've been massacred because of asserting their rights as European French citizens, but onto the alleged terrible discrimination of the French is really quite despicable.
So I didn't ask you anything about discrimination of the French. Let me repeat the question
You went straight on to the alleged backlash.
Let me ask you the question again in case you didn't understand it. Do you think this attack, we are in our news bulletins talking in more detail about the actual attack. What you were invited to discuss in this show are the implications of what might follow the attack. Will it underscore the message of those who say there is an incompatibility between Western values and Muslim values?
No, you want to paint the narrative which you think turns immediately, not from the attackers, but on the French society, which you would like to portray. I'm giving you my answer, so why don't you listen to it? Which you would like to portray as somehow anti-Muslim or anti-Islamic or anything like this. Well, let's start from the fact that 12 people were massacred because European citizens asserted their right, which they have every right to do, to draw Muhammad just as they have the right to draw any other historical figure, which they believe in or don't believe in, it doesn't matter. They have that right. I don't think at this stage whether, you know, a discussion of the far right in France or anything like that is really the point. The point is people were killed and gunned down for doing their job as journalists and cartoonists in a free society.
Okay.
In countries like Britain and France, most of us are not Muslims, and we do not believe in Muhammad as the founder of any faith that we follow. People are Christians, atheists, all sorts of things. You cannot expect, and this is the crucial thing, Muslims should not expect non-Muslims to abide by their own belief systems. You can yourself decide, you as a Muslim do not want to depict Muhammad, but the idea that is coming along in Europe at the moment is a growing idea that people who are not Muslims, who do not believe in Muhammad, who do not follow Islam, are also to be have to obey the rules of Islamic blasphemy. And in Europe at the moment, that is the big debate.
You've made that point, Douglas.
Sure. Unfortunately, if an impartial viewer were watching your program, they'd come away with the idea that all Germans and French people are nascent fascists waiting to expel Muslims. Actually, you just painted, for a journalist, it's quite shocking. You just painted a completely inaccurate portrait of what is going on in protests in Germany, which in actual fact, if you look at it, are highly specific. Can I finish my point?
Let me correct you on a factual point. I didn't say all Germans or all French are looking to expel Muslims.
But then you decided
and I didn't
say
mention
that the Germans
a protest in any particular country. So now that we got the facts straight, please go ahead.
Your incredibly biased portrayal of European citizens starts from your misportrayal of people turning out at protests as being against all Muslims or wanting to expel them. And the presenter in Doha, sit in Doha. It really is astonishing. You are painting a picture of Europe which is outrageous. Across the Middle East, cartoons are published every day, every week, with the most disgusting anti-Semitic propaganda, the most disgusting propaganda in them. And you sit in Doha, a not free society, and smear Germans and French people a mere 24 hours after this totalitarian,
I've just corrected you. You don't seem to be hearing me, so let me correct you again. Sorry, sir. I did not say the words all Germans or all French are against or calling for the expulsion of Muslims. That never came out my mouth. I said there are protests in which there have been protests by some in Europe, a minority, who are calling for exclusivity.
They're against Salafists. Do you not follow any details? The German protests are against Salafists. There is a problem in Europe, sir, and the problem is of Islamic fundamentalism. There is now also a secondary problem, which is that many people who do not like the Islamic fundamentalists are objecting to it. I suggest we unite in sorting out the first primary problem in order to also prevent the secondary problem from ever growing.
Okay.
But we have to portray this accurately.
Exactly.
And you as a journalist should be doing that.
We are doing that, and I thank you for your participation in this show.
It doesn't sound like it, and it's all very well
perhaps you could
for Al Jazeera from Doha to do this, but really.
Do you believe that what has happened today is a fringe example of the behaviour of a few Muslims, or do you in the far right, 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 or do you in the far right believe that this is an example of why Muslims are incompatible with European culture?
I will answer it because I'm a free person and a free European in a free society. And I can tell you that the primary problem is people who walk into offices and gun people down. There will be people in Europe, and I hope that they do not grow in number, who will object to that in a particularly unpleasant way. I hope that we all unite in stopping the fascist Islamists who turn up to offices and disgrace the name of their religion and attack people because of their right to freedom of speech. And I think that's what we need to focus on.